What if the reason your memory feels slower is not because of your age, but because of something you are doing every single day without realizing it? Let that sink in for a moment, because most people never even question it. They assume the problem is time. They assume the problem is getting older. But what if the real problem is something much quieter, something hidden inside your daily routine? Let me ask you something very honestly. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly stopped, completely blank, with no idea why you went there? You stand there, looking around, hoping something will remind you, but nothing comes. Or maybe this has happened to you. You are speaking with someone, telling a story, and suddenly your mind freezes. The next word, the important word, just disappears. It is right there. You can feel it, but you cannot reach it. And the more you try, the more it slips away. And then there is that uncomfortable moment, the silence, the embarrassment, the quiet thought that follows. What is happening to me? Or maybe it is something even simpler. Someone introduces themselves. You smile. You nod. You repeat their name in your head. And just seconds later, it is gone. Not later that day. Not the next morning. Seconds. If any of these moments feel familiar, I want you to know something important. You are not alone. In fact, millions of people over the age of 50 experience these exact same situations every single day. But here is the part that most people never say out loud. It is not just frustration. It is fear, a quiet fear that grows over time. At first, you laugh it off. You say it is nothing, just a small mistake. But then it happens again, and again, and again. And slowly, something changes. You begin to question yourself. You begin to wonder if this is the beginning of something worse. You begin to ask, is my memory slipping away? Is this how it starts? And the most dangerous part is not the forgetfulness itself. It is the belief that comes with it. The belief that there is nothing you can do. Because for years, society has repeated the same message over and over again. Memory loss is normal. It is just part of aging. Everyone goes through it. You hear it in jokes. You see it in movies. You hear friends say it casually. And without realizing it, you begin to accept it as truth. But what if that belief is wrong? What if accepting that idea is actually making things worse? Because here is something very important that most people do not realize. The moment you believe something cannot be changed, you stop trying to change it. You stop challenging your mind. You stop pushing yourself. You become passive. And when that happens, your brain begins to slow down even faster. Not because it has to, but because it is no longer being used the way it was designed to be used. Think about it like this. Imagine a path in a forest. If people walk on it every day, it becomes clear, strong, easy to follow. But if no one uses it, grass grows, branches fall, the path slowly disappears. Your brain works the same way. The connections inside your mind need activity. They need stimulation. They need to be used. Otherwise, they begin to weaken. And here is the part that might surprise you. This process is not controlled by age alone. It is controlled by how you use your brain every single day, which means something very powerful. It means you still have influence. You still have control. Even now, even if you feel like your memory is not what it used to be, even if you have already started noticing those small moments of forgetfulness, there is still something you can do, and not something complicated, not something expensive, not something that requires hours of effort, something simple, something practical. Something that can be done in just 1 minute. But before I show you what that is, I need you to understand something deeper. Because if you do not understand this, you might not take it seriously. And if you do not take it seriously, you will not do it consistently. And if you do not do it consistently, nothing will change. So let us talk about what is really happening inside your brain. Because once you understand this, everything begins to make sense. Your brain is not fixed. It is not a rigid structure that slowly breaks down over time. It is alive. It is adaptable. It is constantly changing. Scientists call this ability neuroplasticity. and it is one of the most important discoveries in modern neuroscience. Neuroplasticity means that your brain can create new connections, reorganize itself, and even strengthen areas that have weakened at any age. Yes, even in your 60s, even in your 70s, even beyond, your brain still has the ability to improve. But there is a condition. It only happens if you give it a reason to. Your brain does not change just because you want it to. It changes because you challenge it, because you stimulate it, because you force it to adapt. Let me explain this in a very simple way. Think of your brain like a muscle. If you stop using a muscle, what happens? It becomes weaker, smaller, less responsive. But if you start using it again, slowly, consistently, it begins to grow stronger. Your brain works in a very similar way, except instead of lifting weights, you are building connections. Every time you focus, every time you recall something, every time you challenge yourself mentally, you are strengthening those pathways. You are reinforcing your memory. You are training your brain to stay sharp. But here is the problem. Most people unknowingly stop doing this. They fall into routines. They stop learning new things. They avoid challenges. They choose comfort over stimulation. And slowly, without realizing it, their brain becomes less active, less engaged, less responsive. And then, when forgetfulness appears, they blame age. But in many cases, it is not just age. It is lack of stimulation. And that is very important, because it means something can be changed. It means something can be reversed, or at least improved. And that brings us to something very powerful. There are people, even in their 80s and 90s, whose minds are still incredibly sharp. They remember details. They stay focused. They stay mentally active. These people are often called superagers, and when scientists study them, they find something interesting. It is not just genetics. It is not just luck. It is lifestyle. These individuals continue to challenge their brains. They stay curious. They stay engaged. They keep building new mental pathways. Whether they realize it or not, they are constantly activating their neuroplasticity. And that is exactly what you are going to start doing. Because in the next part, I am going to show you a simple method, a 1-minute routine that is designed to wake up your brain, increase mental clarity, and begin strengthening those connections again. It may look simple at first, but do not underestimate it, because sometimes the smallest actions done consistently create the biggest changes. Before I show you exactly what to do, I want you to see what is possible, because sometimes understanding is not enough. You need to feel it. You need to see a real example, someone who was in the same position and found a way forward. Let me tell you about a man I once worked with. His name was Ramon. He was 78 years old when he first came to see me. A quiet man, but you could tell immediately he had lived a life full of skill and precision. He had spent decades working with his hands, building things, fixing things, creating things with care and attention. But when he sat down in front of me, something had changed. His daughter came with him. She looked worried, not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, heavy way, the kind of worry that builds slowly over time. She began to speak. She told me her father had started forgetting things. At first, small things. Misplacing objects, losing track of conversations, repeating the same questions. But then, something happened that shook her deeply. One day, her son walked up to Ramon, smiling, excited. He called out to his grandfather, but Ramon hesitated. He looked at the boy and could not remember his name, his own grandson. The room became silent. The boy looked confused. The daughter felt her heart drop. And Ramon, he looked away, not because he did not care, but because he was ashamed. When I asked him about it, he tried to brush it off. He said something I have heard many times. It is nothing. It is just age. My mind is not what it used to be. But when you listen carefully, you can hear what is behind those words. Resignation, a quiet decision to give up. To accept decline is something unavoidable. And that is where the real danger begins. Because when a person believes nothing can be done, They stop trying. They stop engaging. They stop challenging their mind. And slowly, their world becomes smaller. That is exactly what had started happening to Ramon. He spent more time sitting, watching television. He stopped reading books because it became too difficult to follow the story. He avoided conversations because he was afraid of forgetting words. Without realizing it, he had begun to withdraw, not just from activities, but from life itself. So I made him a very simple proposal. I did not give him a long list of instructions. I did not overwhelm him with complex explanations. I simply said this: "Give me 1 minute a day. That is all I ask." He looked at me, confused. 1 minute? That is it? I nodded. 1 minute. But you must do it every day, for 4 weeks, without skipping. He was skeptical, and honestly, I understood why. It sounded too simple, too easy, almost meaningless. But sometimes, the most powerful changes begin with the smallest actions. He agreed, not because he fully believed in it, but because he felt he had nothing to lose. And that is often where change begins, not in certainty, but in willingness. I showed him the exercise, step by step, slowly, clearly. I told him not to rush, not to overthink it, just to do it. 1 minute, every day. Then he left. And for the next 4 weeks, I did not know what would happen. Because here is the truth. Not everyone follows through. Not everyone stays consistent. And without consistency, even the best method will fail. But 4 weeks later, Ramon came back. And the moment he walked into the room, I noticed something different. It was not dramatic, but it was clear. His posture was better. His movements were more confident. His eyes more present. He greeted me with a firm handshake, something he had not done before. His daughter sat next to him, and before I could even ask, she began to speak. Her voice was different this time, not heavy, not worried, but emotional. In a hopeful way, she told me that something had changed, not overnight, not instantly, but gradually. After the first week, Ramon said he felt more alert in the mornings. After the second week, he was able to follow conversations more easily. He began watching the news again and actually understanding it. And then something remarkable happened. One afternoon, his grandson came to visit, the same boy whose name he could not remember. They started talking, and Ramon did not hesitate. He said his name clearly, naturally, as if nothing had ever been wrong. But it did not stop there. He began telling a story, a detailed story from many years ago, about something he had built. He described the materials, the place, the people who were there, even small details that no one had mentioned in years. And as he spoke, something incredible happened. Everyone in the room became quiet, not out of concern, but out of amazement, because they were not just hearing words. They were seeing him come back. Ramon looked at me and smiled. He said something very simple. At first, I felt silly doing it, but I kept going. And then it felt like something opened, like a door in my mind that had been closed for a long time. Now, I want to be very clear with you. This is not magic. Not everyone will experience the same results. Not everyone will have such a visible transformation. But that is not the point. The point is this: your brain has the ability to respond, to adapt, to improve, even after years of feeling stuck, but only if you give it the right kind of stimulation. And that is exactly what you are about to learn, because in the next part, I will guide you step by step through the exact 1-minute exercise that you can start doing today. No equipment, no preparation, just you, your attention, and 60 seconds. And this is important. When you do it, do not treat it like something small, because what you are doing is activating your brain's ability to rebuild itself, and that is something very powerful. Now, this is the moment that matters most, because understanding is important, stories are powerful, but nothing will change until you take action. So right now, I want you to prepare. If you can sit in a chair, not leaning back too much, not too stiff, just upright, relaxed, and present. Place your feet flat on the floor. Let your hands rest gently on your legs. And before we begin, do something very simple. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it for a second, then slowly release it through your mouth. Do that one more time. This is not just about relaxing. This is about bringing your attention into this moment, because for the next 60 seconds, your brain needs you fully present. We will divide this into two parts, the first 30 seconds and the second 30 seconds. Each part has a purpose, and when combined, they create something very powerful. Verse 30 seconds. This is where we prepare your brain. We activate blood flow. We increase oxygen. We wake up the systems that control movement and coordination. Here is what you will do. Slowly lift your right arm forward. Do not rush. As you lift it, breathe in slowly through your nose. Count gently in your mind. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now slowly lower your arm back down. As it goes down, breathe out through your mouth. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now switch to your left arm. Lift while breathing in. Lower while breathing out. Continue alternating. Right arm, left arm, slow, controlled, smooth. This is not exercise for your muscles. This is preparation for your brain. Focus on the movement. Feel the rhythm of your breathing. Notice how your body and your breath begin to align. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back, because attention is the key. Without attention, the effect becomes weaker. Continue this for 30 seconds. No rushing, no forcing, just steady, controlled movement. Now we move into the second 30 seconds. And this is where things begin to change. Keep the exact same movement going. Do not stop. Do not change the rhythm. But now, we add a mental challenge. As you lift your arm, you will say the name of something from a category. Choose a simple category to begin. For example, fruits. As you raise your right arm, say apple. As you lower it, think of the next one. As you raise your left arm, say banana. Continue. Orange, grape, mango, anything that comes to your mind. The goal is not perfection. The goal is engagement. You are asking your brain to do two things at once. Move the body and search for information. And that is exactly what forces your brain to create new connections. If your mind suddenly goes blank, do not panic. This is normal. In fact, this is where the real work begins. Pause for a moment. Keep breathing. Let your brain search. Then continue. Because that moment of effort, that slight struggle, that is where growth happens. Now let me explain why this works. Because once you understand this, you will take it more seriously. When you combine movement with thinking, you activate multiple areas of the brain at the same time. You engage attention. You engage coordination. You engage memory. These areas must communicate with each other. And when they do, new neural pathways begin to form. Think of it like building bridges. The more often you activate these connections, the stronger they become. And over time, tasks that once felt difficult begin to feel easier. Words come faster. Focus improves. Mental clarity returns. But here is something very important. Your brain adapts quickly. If you do the same thing every day, it becomes easier. And when it becomes too easy, the benefit decreases. So you must keep challenging it. Here is how you can progress. Week 1. Keep it simple. Use basic categories. Fruits, animals, objects in your home, clothing, things you see every day. Week 2. Increase the challenge. Choose a letter and name words that begin with that letter. This forces your brain to search differently. It activates deeper recall. Week 3. Add numbers. Try counting backwards. For example, start from 100. Go down in steps of 3. 100, 97, 94. If you lose track, do not worry. Just continue from where you remember. Week 4 and beyond, combine everything. Use categories. Use letters. Use numbers. Change it often. Keep your brain slightly uncomfortable, because that is where growth happens. Now, there are 3 mistakes you must avoid. These mistakes can reduce the effectiveness of this exercise, even if you are doing it every day. The first mistake, moving too fast. Many people rush. They lift their arms quickly. They breathe shallowly. But this creates tension, and tension reduces focus. Slow is better. Controlled is better. The second mistake, skipping days. Doing this for 2 or 3 days, and then stopping. will not produce results. Your brain needs repetition. It needs consistency. Even 1 minute a day done regularly is more powerful than longer sessions done occasionally. The third mistake, distraction. Do not do this while watching television. Do not do it while talking. That 1 minute must belong completely to you. Your attention is what shapes the change. If your attention is divided, the effect weakens. Now let me give you 3 simple ways to make this even more effective. These are small but powerful. First, drink a glass of water before you begin. Your brain depends heavily on hydration. Even mild dehydration can affect focus and memory. Think of water as fuel. Second, allow yourself to smile slightly before starting. It may feel unusual, even unnecessary, but this simple action sends signals to your brain. It helps improve mood, and it makes learning easier. Third, teach this to someone else, a friend, a partner, a neighbor. When you explain something, your brain organizes the information more deeply. You strengthen your own understanding, and you create accountability. You are more likely to stay consistent when you do it with someone. Now I want to leave you with something important. This is not just about memory. This is about your independence, your confidence, your ability to stay connected to the people and moments that matter most. Because memory is not just information, it is identity. It is your life. So here is my challenge to you. Do not just listen to this. Do not just think about it. Do it. 1 minute a day for 7 days. That is all. Then come back and ask yourself one question. Do I feel any difference? Maybe your mind feels slightly clearer. Maybe you remember things a little faster. Maybe you feel more present. Even small changes matter, because small changes, repeated consistently, become powerful over time. And if you are willing, share your experience. Write that you completed your first week. Tell what you noticed, because your story might be the reason someone else decides to start. Right now, you have a choice. You can close this and continue as before, or you can take 1 minute and begin strengthening your mind, starting today. Never underestimate what a single minute can do, because when that minute is repeated again and again, it becomes something much bigger. It becomes a habit. It becomes a commitment. It becomes a decision to take care of your brain, a decision to stay sharp, a decision to not give up. I am Dr. Richard Ben. Thank you for your time. Take care of your mind. Stay consistent. And I will see you again very soon.